There is a little girl called Amira, and she's absolutely in love with Harry Potter. And therefore, as it is her birthday today, I have dedicated this painting of the enchanted forest to Amira. I've laid in the moon, the space where I'm going to paint the moon, and I'm leaving it for the last. And then I have just layered the paper with a little bit of blue, very light blue. Always start your painting with very light tones, and you can keep on adding the pigment later on. So now what I'm doing is I've just put in a dash of blue on my wet paper. Then I have decided to put in my trees. I have mixed. The materials I'll be using are this little sketchbook, which is 250 GSM. That way it's going to take a lot of water, because I do use a lot of water in my watercolors. And I have Camlin paints, artist quality, and I have these German paints which I've picked up in a store in the US. So I have opened this page and I'm going to start with my painting. I have really used these two sets of paints, really enjoyed painting with them, and let's see what a beautiful enchanted forest we can make. These German paints are called Angora, and they're genuinely beautiful paints. They may be student quality, but you can take out some beautiful work out of them. Camlin is again artist quality, and they give you a little paper, butter paper, on which everything is written. All their color code are given, and they have defined the shade of their color. Literally, they have given you a color chart. So now I'm all set to start my painting. I have this beautiful sketchbook of 50 pages, and it is by the Zen people, A5, and GSM is 250, so it takes in a lot of water. I'm trying it out for the first time, dropping in my water. I love to do wet on wet, so I'm first layering my paper with water. I'm leaving the space where I'm going to put in the moon, so I don't want my color to bleed in there. Taken all my greens, the dark greens, and I'll put in the floor of the forest. I'm already so excited to work on the enchanted forest. So because this is wet on wet, the color is just flowing. Paper quality is very good. I've dropped in the water. Now I want to put in the colors of the sky, and I will work in a circular motion around the moon. I'm going to create a circular motion, and the brush I'm using is a mop brush, Daniel Smith. So it takes in a lot of water, holds a lot of water, holds a lot of paint, and you can continue to paint for a very long time with it. It's another beautiful piece of brush which you must own. Just keep working in a circular motion, put in darker shades. Always be mindful of the amount of pigment you're using at the start of a painting. Do not use too much, because you can always increase the pigment, but you cannot make your painting change the tones to lighter shades. So please be careful. Just move, make your wrist move in a circular motion, and we have got laid out the color for we've left space for the moon, laid out the color for the sky, and we are all set to put in our trees. I'll just move in with a little speed here, and I'm all set to, I've increased the speed of my work, but you can still follow me. I've mixed burnt sienna, I have mixed black and a little bit of red to create the right a hue for my trees. So this is the first coat of the trees I'm putting in. That's how the color looks, and just make the base of your trees very thick, and as you come up, reduce the size of the branches, make them very thin towards the top of the page. So we need to create an atmospheric perspective of the trees, that we have to show some trees far away in the distance and some very close to us. So the trees which we show very far away from us will be very light hues, and when I do the last coat, I'll do pure black for the trees in front. I'm throwing in some shadows as well, using the same hue of the tree as the shadow, and I've just lightened it a bit by putting in more water. Now I'm going on adding the trees, throwing in shadows below the trees on the ground of the forest. Remember, it is the enchanted forest, so it has to have a magical appeal to it. So trying to make it as magical and mystical as possible by giving it an oval look, and by making the branches hang out right into the moon. So as many branches that we can fit into the page and not make it look too crowded, we are going to do that. Pull in thinner branches. I've taken acrylic white to paint in the moon, because acrylic white really stands out. So I always pick up acrylic white when I want to do things like the moon or waves. So that's it. I put in my moon. Now I am trying to darken my trees, more black, more green, more red, and give darker hues. And this would be my last final touch to my enchanted forest, by putting in my darkest hues. And I am also going to darken my trees now. This is when I will darken my trees and show a little yellow filtering through the trees, as if there is something or some light from a house coming through, and the blue of the sky I have also darkened. The night sky has to be shown as mystical and dark, so therefore I am going to take a darker shade of blue, that is Prussian blue, and in a circular motion I'm going to darken the sky. And now I put in little light patches under the trees to show the light from the moon falling and creating some kind of light effect on the grass below, on the ground below. Almost completed my enchanted forest. The moon is shining through, and the trees, the tiny branches, I have made them go into the moon. I'm just putting in little light patches on the tree where the moon is touching the trees and the branches, just reflecting off the branches, and that's it. It's done. Just adding some finishing touches to my painting, and that's it. I've completed my enchanted forest. Thank you for watching. Finally, you can add a few more branches coming into the lightest part of your painting. That's it. It's done. Take a dry brush and try to blend all the very dark colors into the other parts of the painting so it doesn't just stand out. The dark and the light have to mingle with each other. So I always take a dry brush and blend everything together. Where the blue meets the gray of the sky, I blend it together. So that's how I complete my painting.